Thank you very much, Chairman, and I do thank the Minister and his Department official Brian for attending this very important meeting here today. I mean, there is no doubt about it, though, and I'm not being personal or anything to either Minister Gormley or Deputy Liddon. They're fine people. I have nothing personal at all against them. But it's very clear to me that in government, you're pulling the strings, and he ensured that Bornemona was closed down 6 years before it was destined to close down. There was actually Moss Peat left behind in Bornemona, in the middle of the country. And you see, nurseries in Kerry, in the horticulture sector, is saying that there's alternatives. Like, we're not even being told what the alternatives are. And you see, are we going to lose those jobs? And I mean, it's the very same as the briquettes. To no bother to import them, the moss peat and the briquettes into the country. And at the same time, our bogs are there lying idle. And we have no gold, Minister. We have no diamond deposits, or we have no oil deposits. But we had a few bogs here and there. And it is galling to think that over in China they're building new power generating stations to produce electricity for to burn coal. I mean, we're all under the same sky, I think anyway. I haven't travelled all the world, but we are told that we're all under the same sky. And the people in Ireland don't want to hurt any part of the world less their own. So this is affecting rural areas more than urban areas. And I suppose, as I said, we can bring in boats of moss peat, and no problem bring in briquettes from Germany. People need these things. There are no alternatives for many people than having a bit of a fire to keep themselves warm from here now till the 1st of May next year. It could be a cold winter. So, Minister, the questions, the three questions that I have, you're saying that there's planning issues. Will you bring forward legislation to deal with the planning issues? We have the peat, and it can be harvested in the very same way that was harvested in Latvia. And that legislation should include the production of briquettes as well. Will you ensure that jobs won't be lost in this massive industry? And look, when you go around Killarney and see what flowers are in window boxes and all around the Ring of Kerry, and how are they going to? How is that beautiful situation going to be kept up if we don't have moss peat? And then will you ensure? So that's the question. Will you ensure that we won't lose jobs in the horticulture industry? And the last question. The alternatives. He must spell them out what they are to the people that are wondering where will they get the money to pay their employees. That has to be sorted out. And look, again, I'd say the most sensible thing to do would be to bring forward legislation to ensure that peat can be harvested.
I'll try and address the last four questions, and I apologise, I do have to depart. I'm on to all business shortly, and perhaps I might ask Brian to come in just on specifically on the options. Just to say a couple of things. First of all, the continued assertion that this is a green agenda, and that this is part of who would accept that we would attempt or try to move to undermine an industry. Our collective job here as legislators is responsibility towards those people and the staff and the workers and the families. And we want, and we have exhausted and will continue to exhaust every option possible to try and secure a viable alternative and interim, medium-term and long-term solutions for the sector. So I'm giving that commitment to the members here. I'm happy to come back to the committee at further stages to update once I receive Dr. Prasad's report. And this is, we are caught, as has been said by others, in a legislative bind to address Deputy Healy-Rae's point on legislating. We're not going to get there any quicker by moving primary legislation on this, and Brian has updated you on that already. You know, it is going to take significant amount of time regardless. I am giving our commitment and government's commitment that we will continue to work collectively to try and move towards those alternatives. There are nurseries out there using peat alternatives across the country, and there are nurseries across the world, and there are growers in other areas that are able to use peat alternatives. So there are options there, just to say that.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Minister. Yeah, as the Minister said in his opening statement, the three departments have been looking at a suite of measures as regards the situation in the industry. I suppose, I know it was said the last day, and my understanding is that the paper and the suite of measures hasn't as yet been signed off by party leaders. So obviously, then I'm limited in what I can go, the kind of detail I can go into. But the type of thing that will be in the paper will be, for example, looking at, are there stocks of peat available at the moment that may not have been looked at so much up to now, that could be available and that could be made suitable for use by the industry. The potential to make equipment, mixing plants, expertise available to assist the industry if that would be helpful, and using the expertise within various organisations around the supply chains they would have to try to see could peat be sourced. Another thing I might just say, Chairman, we have been asked, the department has been asked by the chair of the working group to see if it would be possible to make funding available to a student to undertake research on the hydrothermal decarbonisation of green waste and spent mushroom compost to produce a substrate that could be used as a peat replacement in growing media, and that's something that's been looked at by the department. And just on the research topic, the Department of Agriculture issued a research call, and within that research call, one of the areas is research on terms of the peat growing media for horticulture production. And my understanding is that this call is to be approved. As successful applicants under the call, they'll be made known in November next, with the research expected to start early next year. Thank you, Chairman.